My personal brand has rocketed ever since I secured my Google Knowledge Panel. So what is it? You probably recognize it. If you're a person of note, then generally if someone searches your name, then you should get this nice rich result. It does tend to vary. I normally get my YouTube in there, often get an image, and it can be slightly different on mobile and desktop. So really nice thing to have and really tells people you're serious. I generally don't carry business cards anymore, partly because people just remember SEO Jesus, but even before I was SEO Jesus, I'd just say Google Stuart because this is my business card. And it's one of those things, a bit like an expensive watch. It's just a little bit subtle, you don't have to shout about it, but it's just something that separates you from 99% of people. If you're at a conference or something like that, how do you stand out? Well, these little credible pieces of information that show your authority are really good. Now, I've already done a very popular video on how you actually get the Google Knowledge Panel, so I did that 6 months ago. It's had 7,500 views since. But the fundamentals were, I just explained, like the rest of Google, it's just an algorithm, and that means you've just got to take the right steps. So the most important thing with the Google Knowledge Panel is basically getting your information on certain websites and making sure it all lines up. And that includes getting certain authoritative links. Now, these are not just the standard outreach links that you get with an agency like mine, but the top ones really are things like your Amazon Kindle author link, any PR and podcasts you've been on, and of course you want to bring this all together using a Wikidata entry. So that's exactly what I did, and just the fact I published a book on Amazon was enough to actually get that to trigger. Now, I say I wrote a book on Amazon, mine actually was a genuine handwritten book of about 30,000 words, but you could just publish a blog post if you wanted, just to get the same effect. But another really powerful link for your Google Knowledge Panel is actually an IMDb listing. The problem with that is they're quite tough to get because you do actually need to have participated in some sort of production. So one method, you can supposedly create an account and then just find some unclaimed profile and then claim that profile, which is basically what my friend Craig Campbell did. Now, in the ultimate story of Fake It How You Make It, I won't steal his story, he shares it at a lot of events, but fundamentally, he took this profile and then tried to make it more legitimate by going and finding more credits in other IMDb listings that weren't fully credited and saying, that was me, that was me, that was me, so that he had this fully furnished IMDb profile, and a producer actually reached out to him, and that's how he got a starring role in Crime Lord. It's the best story of how you fake it till you truly make it. Now, interestingly, I've got a few friends I recognise who have been listed as producers on this series. I suspect Craig put a good word in, and so I don't have Pro, but we can see here we've got Randy Rohde of 38 Digital, great press releases. James Dooley, interviewed him a couple of months ago. He's a big fan of my show, and he was apparently a hitman driver. Graham Grieve, another great Scottish SEO, been a great supporter and friend over the years. So you get the idea. If you can get a placement on IMDb as a producer, then that's really powerful, gives you much better chances of getting this knowledge panel, and it's just generally good for your expertise, experience, authority, and trust metrics. So you want to publish your book on Amazon, get your IMDb listing, do some PR, and then link them all together with a Wikidata entry. That should be enough to get you this knowledge panel. But what if you don't have a friend who has been on a recent Netflix drama and can get you an IMDb link? Well, in my video, this original how-to guide, I said a really good option is actually just to go onto Kickstarter and try and find film projects that are looking for backers. And so for about $100 or so, you can quite often get an IMDb credit that way. And this is my reason for this video today. Today I'm going to show you how you can get an IMDb listing producer credit absolutely free, along with a load of other benefits, and it's all white hat. So, such as the London way of life, I was with some friends in a pub, finally getting to meet and get to know the partner of a very good friend, and we finally had the classic question, so what do you do? And he said, he's a film producer, he's working on this project, and is currently raising a Kickstarter for the final bit of funding he needs to actually get it distributed. So now he's got my attention, now I'm listening. And I explained to him that you do realise that, well, my first question is, can I get an IMDb credit? And he said, yes, absolutely. So I basically explained to him the immense value of these IMDb credits. So he's now gone back and retweaked his offering on Kickstarter to get you more IMDb credits at a lower price bracket. So before we go on, let's just go into what you're actually backing. Cockerel calls herald in the dawning rays of spring, neath the cobble's mound, dark deeds abound, the girl awaits within. Lucy's story came to me in the strangest ways. Back in 2011, I was living in New Zealand and had just watched a downloaded episode of Downton Abbey. In this episode, an actor states that he has urgent business in Maryport and he is leaving the stately home. I used to live in Maryport and have a keen interest in its history, so knew exactly which family and home they were referring to. So there's this old family in Maryport, and there's this family mythology around a white woman who haunts the grounds where the stately home once stood. This producer then found a court case from Carlisle in the UK, which one of the family members had sat on as a JP, I think that's junior prosecutor, where a young woman's body from Workington had been found under a pile of cobblestones. So this producer went on to basically uncover a big Victorian true crime story that has never really been reported. 3 further years of intensive research succeeded in doing just this. This young 16-year-old woman whose voice had been silenced to cover up the deeds of a young man's lust and rage. So the filming work has already been done. He's got 80 terabytes of raw footage, just needing editing into a serialised TV period drama, and this will then be pitched and tried to be sold around the world. So let's have a look at the trailer.
She's in our eyes. There's been horrible deeds done to her.
Lucy, forgive me. It's a young woman.
Has he seen her? No one has.
She went missing.
John, it's definitely the work of a deranged mind.
Good afternoon, ladies. I'm Detective Inspector Isaac Bird from Whitehaven. The body which was found on the north side this morning has been identified.
It's my Lucy. What have they done with her? I want to hold. It's her.
I'm going to ask you to think this through, Maggie. If you want to see justice served, you need to tell the truth.
Whatever happens, all of you.
Equal ways in free from that cell.
Whatever happens.
So you get the idea, Victorian true crime series. Now, what's in for you? Why is this a special opportunity? Well, having spoke with Stephen, the producer, I told him about, I know a lot of people who would be very interested in IMDb producer credits, but we need a good deal for them. So he's gone back to the drawing board. So if you are interested in the story, there's all these extra benefits, digital downloads to do with the production. But the real gold is down here at £100. Now, before we go any further, £100 is already a good deal for that IMDb producer credit. But here's the key part. If I just zoom in, the reward carries a contracted agreement that should Lucy's story be picked up and monies are forthcoming, will repay you your investment in full plus 100%, meaning you'll receive £200 for taking the risk. So that's huge. And like I say, this is the lowest tier of producer we're going to be offering for anyone who really wants to be more financially involved in the series, or for anyone who just wants an IMDb producer title. I may have had something to do with getting that clause put in there. So I quite like the sound of having an IMDb producer credit anyway, just as a bucket list thing. Wouldn't it be great to have in your eulogy or looking back at the end of your life that you have actually been a producer on certain productions, not forgetting that all a producer a lot of the time is just a financial backer. So if you make that £100 investment, then you are a financial backer. There's a load of other tiers available. So we've got associate producer at £200. So if you do feel the story is actually something you would be interested in beyond just the IMDb credit, then there's some higher tier of production credits. Co-producer, I quite like. Executive producer. So just out of vanity for myself, I mean, if you're sort of the person who likes shiny objects, the nice car, the nice Rolex, why wouldn't you want to be an executive producer on what could be quite a big TV series? But it really is down to you, no guarantees at all. But £100 for an IMDb credit that will get your knowledge panel. And if this all works out, you'll even get your money back and then some. I think that's a no-brainer. I'm going to be signing up. So I'm going to pledge £100 and then find out if I can remember my Kickstarter login. Apparently I do. Grab that. Pledge already 30% funded. So now that I've announced this, I'm sure these cheaper IMDb credits are going to disappear very quickly. So I'll leave a link to the Kickstarter listing below. Go and grab one of those.